It's been going good, Drew. Thanks for asking. I've actually dug into a couple different guys that came across my research over the last 48 and excited to talk about them, talk about some things that I found, and maybe have some pivots off my pivots. Who knows? Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
How about now? Spetty. Yeah, we're good. You hear me? All right. I think we're okay. That was my fault, Jacob. Um, Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Second week of the year, so still a little rusty, but we'll get it going here in a second. So, all right. Repeat what you just said, because I'm trying to follow chat. It's a good thing we got chat. And I see P
Oh
Dub
no,
just joined, but yeah, man, what's going on with your research? Sorry.
no. Like I was saying, just actually dug in a little bit more and found some guys that I did not touch on the podcast. So excited to look at those guys a little bit more with you this evening before lock tomorrow. And I don't think I've really come off anyone, in a terrible way from the podcast on Monday. But yeah, just excited to get this kicked off for another week and hopefully give out some good information for everybody building their lineups, getting ready for the Sony Open tomorrow.
Yeah, this is a good. This is a much better event than we had last week. Last week's show was a good show. I think kicking off the year, but 34 guys. There's not a lot going to change between Monday and Monday to basically Thursday at 3 p.m. for us. So yeah, pretty excited. I got a good bit of notes to go through. So I'll go ahead and bring up our agenda real fast for those that are new. I know several people are probably anxious to hear about the ping giveaways. I think I saw your name in there, Jacob. I'm not sure if you're eligible, but we'll have to see if that even happens. But let's hop over to the agenda, and we'll pretty much stay tight to this. We'll just start off with a quick kind of podcast review. Jacob kind of alluded to it, but we'll talk about some guys we talked about on Monday for the podcast, see how we changed either up or down, which is essentially our line movement. Guys that might be fluctuating because of ownership as well. So we'll talk about some of those changes and get into some weather, some Q&A at the end, which is always fun, and of course some giveaways. Jacob, last week we did the giveaways at the end, and I know for one the ping wedge I think is going to go out to all the retweets, and then we still got the hybrid that's going to go out in another giveaway here on this show. But you know what? I feel like we should probably go ahead and give something away.
Oh, this early? Starting it early.
Yeah, I feel good about this week, so might as well give some things away.
Let's do it.
So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do one regular giveaway. We're going to spin the wheel. As you can probably see, there's several different options that we have. We got shirts, hats, golf balls. We got some Pro V1s. So we'll do one normal giveaway real quick, see who wins that. And then we'll do the wedge giveaway on air right now. And then we'll proceed with the show. And then we'll sporadically do some other giveaways until the end. We'll knock out those last three and the hybrid. But all right, let's spin the wheel. Let's see what we can do for our first giveaway, Jacob.
All right, what you got?
FGB hat. All right, guys.
Nice.
So if you're new to the show from last week, all you have to do, we're going to think of a little keyword, and we're going to give it to y'all to type in the chat. We're going to do a random thing real fast, and it'll select one of y'all. So what do you think, Jacob? I'm thinking we can't say Spieth because people probably misspell that. Let's just say Justin. That'll be easy.
Justin.
Right.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
All right, so all you got to do is type Justin in the chat real quick. We'll select a winner. give that another couple seconds. Again, this is for FGB hat. All right, another 10 seconds. And then we'll get to the ping wedge. All right, ready?
Ready. Who is it?
Ballin Reese. I think that's Billy. He's a FGB member.
Awesome. Congrats, Billy. FGB hat. I got one of those, man. Those are sweet.
Yep. All right. Got that written down. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and do this this wedge giveaway. As a reminder, this is for everyone that retweeted. See if I can get that up to the camera. Might not focus, but nice ping Glide 2.0. I'm trying to give out real golf equipment. This is a golf podcast. This is a golf live stream, obviously. Might as well give that out. So let me run this real fast, and let's pick a winner. Let's hope they're here in the chat. So, what does he say?
No, he's
Chris.
No, I'm saying. Hope he's here in the chat. We'll see.
For real. All right, I don't have a drum roll queued up, but I'll let you know right now. The winner is, let's see, their Twitter name is M Johnson 1736. Let's see a M Johnson 1736 in the chat. The retweet contest, you did not have to be here to win that, but you do for the hybrid. So M Johnson 1736 has won the wedge. Nice.
Oh, there's the wedge. Very sharp.
Yeah. 1736. All right. You'll be getting a DM for that. I'm disappointed he's not in the chat, though. So, all right, Jacob, let's go ahead. Let's see. Next on the docket, we'll jump back. So, do you have any guys kind of right off the top of your head that, we talked about on the show? Up top, I think initially we talked about fading the 10K and above. It seems like we can build pretty solid, balanced lineups. Of course, in GPPs, it's a good strategy to pick a couple of those guys. But it does look like there's some popular guys up there. It might be worth fading in GPPs as well. But, going down the list, anybody that you told me I should play on Monday and now you kind of changed your tune?
I don't think so. Honestly, the one guy that I'm on the fence again about is now Kisner, believe it or not. I obviously wrote him up this week and hyped him pretty good on the podcast, and I still like him. But I might try and be even more balanced, and I might try and squeeze Champ in somehow. He was one of the guys that I didn't talk about at all in the podcast that I've dug into since. Those are the only crazy changes that I have looked at in this higher range.
Okay, let me ask you this then. This is probably a question I still somewhat have. Looks like Woodland's going to play.
Yeah.
I don't think at this point it's really a concern he's going to withdraw, to be honest. But what do you think is that?
Yeah, I agree.
You think he's got extra motivation? Where are you leaning on Woodland?
I think he's actually going to be an okay play this week. Looking at some projected ownerships, I don't know if the chatter has got him knocked down a little bit, but I have seen a lower number than I was expecting to see. And I did hear, it was either yesterday or today, that all of his family is with him in Hawaii, so the likelihood of him withdrawing, in my opinion, is pretty low, if close to not at all. So he might be a little sneaky, certainly not by his form and performance in the past, but just in general with this whole withdrawal scare, I don't know if people are going to be as quick to click his name, especially up top at 10-8, third highest player. So.
Yeah.
If you tell me I'm gonna find a way to squeeze Woodland in, I'll say, go for it, man. It sounds good to me.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna avoid him. It's tough. I mean, on any given week, or like if this was a normal week coming off of last week with his course history and stuff, man, he'd probably be a lock, and he'd probably be like 40% at least, especially in cash. But yeah, for me, kind of going down the list, Patrick Reed, I mentioned a little bit on the podcast, and I do think he's decent in GPPs, but like, man, I don't know. Cam Champ's right there at 9,900, and I dug into him a bit more and like looked at his results on similar golf courses. You think of Cam Champ as a bomber, and like the RSM and stuff like that. He played really well. So, people can say he gained so many strokes putting last week, but his tee to green was down. Like, there's one rule of thumb that some of that kind of evens out on the course of a tournament. So, like, if you really struggle tee to green, you finish decent, then you gained it putting, obviously. But I think he can, if you look at his trends from the last 6 events, his tee to green game has been unreal. So Cam Champ has kind of risen in my mind. One thing I will mention, I wasn't able to like grab the video and talk about, but Jordan Spieth's interview today was interesting. He basically said he has no expectations, which I think I mentioned in our chat. Like, golfers are very good about. They may have got this from Tiger. Tiger never told like the truth as far as like interviews go. Like, hey, how you playing? You look like you really struggle putting. He's like, nah, I'm doing fine. Or if he played really well, he's like, I didn't play that great. It's like, dude, you shot 60. So Spieth kind of seemed that way to me. So he's another one that we'll get to here in a second. But he's been trending up a lot. He's got a lot of chatter. I think people think he'll be low owned and be going that way. So
yeah, for sure.
And then as far as the lower end, the one that keeps jumping out to me that I kind of get and I kind of don't is Ollie. So what we can do is jump over to fan share. I was going to walk through a few things. You may not be able to see this, but so if you are new to the show, Fan Share Sports is a great place to get a nice curation of DFS content. They have NFL, they have PGA, they get to see tags. Ownership projections come out tonight. And you can use Fantasy Golf Bag as a promo code for 20% off a subscription. So that's a nice partnership with them. But yeah, man, so I'm just scrolling down this page. A couple of these names that stood out to me. Spieth was jumping a little bit. And then let's get down here. We got Ches Reavie. He's jumping 59 tags in the last 24 hours. And I know we talked about him on the podcast, so I was curious your thoughts because I feel like he's going to be higher owned, and I'm not sure I'm digging it, even if he is fairly inexpensive. So I don't know if you had any time to kind of think about that, but the name down below that was Ollie, who's up 26. But Ches and Ollie were the two that, if they're gaining momentum, those aren't ones that I really want to target.
Yeah, no. Let's start with Ollie. One caddy does not a player make. Just because he's got ZJ's old caddy means nothing. I mean, he might help with his mental approach to the game, but he still can't hit it off the tee. I mean, that's not going to help him with his swing. So Ollie is, I don't even have to think twice about that. No Ollie for me. Despite being the hatless wonder. I mean, that's fine, but his form last year, he might have a bounce back, and we might see it a couple tournaments from now, but first one of the year, not going to rust off, no thanks. As far as Ches, I just feel like there are too many options in that mid 7K range to where you don't have to eat that chalk. Now, he's not a bad play, and he normally plays well early on in the year, and those are things going for him. I don't have his course history in front of me right off, but I honestly, I just feel like there's so many plays in this range that you could pivot to, and not have to have that Ches sweat going on. I mean, you got Piercy just above him, who's also probably going to be popular. You've got Fratelli, Tway, M, all the same price, or excuse me, 100 less. You got Putnam, Patrick Rogers, which we'll get into a little bit right below him. Yeah. I mean, just so many options that, sure, he's a cash game play, that's fine, but in a GPP where you're trying to differentiate, there's no reason that you have to go there or feel that you even have to go there.
Yeah, Vlad in chat, he's talking about because I think Ches could be 25+% owned. We've seen it before in courses, especially on the West Coast when he's played well or has good course history. So let me jump to Ches again here in just a second. But the one name I did want to segue into was Mr. Sam Ryder, and I don't know if he is where in this list he is. So he's been dropping. He's down 16 tags the last 24 hours. I still really like Sam this week. It's always hard to tell after a break how they're going to play. But, let me just jump over here, too. The last time we saw him was at the RSM, which is, maybe a little bit of a weaker field. Just if you count the strength of field with, Bryson and Justin Thomas and those guys. But, the rest of the field is pretty spread out. He's down to 7,200 this week. He was 8,600 at the RSM. I mean, that's a pretty good price drop. Like I mentioned on the podcast, I think he should be as high as Kevin Tway, if not possibly higher in this field. So, and you see Ches Reavie had a drop too. Let me see real quick. I'm curious now that Vlad mentioned that. Yeah, see, his average DK ownership is 11.8. But, man, during that West Coast swing last year, he was creeping in the high 20s. Remember at Pebble? I think it was Pebble, yeah. We'll see. Vlad, you could be right. I just feel like that's really, really high. And, yeah, Sam Ryder's rolling stats are ridiculous. Any other thoughts of the guys that have kind of moved up and down? We can get into the weather here. There's really not a lot to talk about. We can talk on that. And, where do you stand? Any other guys that have been moving up?
So just a couple things. In my article this week, I talked about Abraham Answer, and I don't know how I missed this, but he won the Australian Emirates at the end of November, and that I don't know how I oversaw that, but even further, his form is just top notch going in here. He still has the hiccup with his only appearance last year. As far as I'm concerned, that's not a big issue to me. I mean, there certainly you can weigh previous course experience. It's a good thing. I mean, he played the course. He actually had a rough first round, I believe it was, and then he shot, 3 or 4 under the second round and missed the cut by 1 shot. Yeah. So it's not like he just completely blew it and was blown away by the course. I think just how strong he is coming into this makes him an excellent play. And, his ownership was lower in the week. It was sub 10%. It's creeped up a little bit over that right now. I still think he's an excellent play in that range. Like I said, my GPP strategy this week is sort of stacking the box in the 9 and 8Ks. So he is locked in for me in my single lineup.
This the one guy that stood out to me in the low 9s was Paul Casey, and I talked to Chris, who was on the podcast Monday, for hitting that big 60-1 bet on Xander with parlay with a couple bowl games. But yeah, he was talking. I think Paul Casey. It might have been Paul Casey versus Cam Smith, if I'm not mistaken, but. Paul Casey's a guy that fits the mold for this type of golf course. He won at the Valspar last year. It's a little bit different. It's more rolling hills, but similar layout as far as tight driving. You have to hit drivers too on a majority of those holes. So I like Paul Casey a lot. He was one that I'm not sure how much love I gave him on the podcast, but when I looked a bit into it, he really played decent last week. And then the one thing I will say, especially to the chat, because the narrative of winners coming from the Tournament of Champions the week before is huge. I think 6 out of the last 7 winners played the Tournament of Champions. And that has to do with 2 things. One is obviously being in Hawaii, getting used to the time. The other is actually playing competitive rounds, being in that groove. I think most podcasts that have had tour professionals on, and when we talked to Damon, he told us, Zach usually plays well his 3rd week. That's his best week is his 3rd week. He plays his first week, hopefully he plays well. Second week, he plays a little better. And then by the 3rd week, he's in a groove. And then he'll take some time off. So I think having those guys over in Hawaii, that's why I really like the idea of getting some of these guys, maybe bumping them a little bit more than normal, like Cameron Champ. Even Bryson, he's been getting a little less chatter. I think he probably deserves a little bit more. He played so terrible tee to green last week, but I mean, you saw the run he went on during the FedEx Cup playoffs. You can't really discount him any.
Oh, yeah.
So, really liking the guys that played last week. I'm trying to give them a bit of a bump. So just keep that in mind. I think it definitely shouldn't force you onto somebody, but I definitely, if I'm comparing two people, did they play in Hawaii last week? And if yes, that's a pretty nice bump for me.
Yeah. Okay.
You like that?
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I was about to ask you how much you were weighing this played last week narrative. I mean, it's pretty much all we've seen in the last 24 hours, and I'm just trying to rack my brain, like, how much does it really impact you? I mean, sure, you're acclimated to the time zone, maybe your family's with you.
It matters because the field was so small last week. If it was a full field, then it'd be really hard to, all these guys played last week. Well, they don't really have an advantage. But by having that select few, and those are world-class guys. I mean, you got 34 of the best players in the world that played last week, so can't really, shy away from that either. But, yeah, there is something to be said for, you hear guys all the time. Spieth talked about it today, was playing competitive or getting competitive reps under his belt before he gets into, the Masters, like his swing for the Masters, whatever it is that he's wanting to gear for. So competitive reps is a real thing. You'll see guys that tend to trend up. I forget who I was looking at earlier that played, I think this stretch, it was like 2016 maybe, and he finished third at the Tournament of Champions, second at this event, and then he won the Farmers. It might have been Brandt, actually. I think Brandt finished 3-2-1 to start the 2016 season, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 2016.
That means you need to play him.
I'm not playing him, no. I also did more digging and realized he played way better last week, or the Tournament of Champions in that year than he did last week, so no thanks.
Well, somebody in chat was asking about how you feel about Sneds earlier today.
No thanks.
That's your boy.
I tried him last week again. Couldn't do it. But all right, let's go ahead and jump into the weather real quick. I don't think there's a lot to talk about, to be honest, but let's hear what you have seen.
No, you're right. I saw something, I think it was yesterday, where somebody had asked if there was any slight edge in the PM Friday grouping. And I mean, I think we're splitting hairs at that point, but I'll just make note of it. Thursday morning does have higher winds. They start off higher, and then it sort of normalizes the afternoon. And then Friday, they are pretty. They're really low in the morning, like 5 miles an hour sustained winds Friday morning. So Thursday PM, Friday AM are pretty much getting low winds across the board, whereas guys going off first thing in the morning tomorrow, it's more. Now, technically we're saying more, but keep in mind, we're talking about a 9 mile per hour wind in the morning versus a 5 mile per hour wind in the afternoon. It's not significant at all. So me personally, I'm not considering it at all. Yeah. I think last week when we saw massive winds and gusts, that's when you can start to, try and tinker a little bit and work with waves. But I don't think it's worth doing here. I think you pick the players that you've done your research and you picked, and then just roll with it.
Someone in the chat would like to know, Jacob, are they Kona winds? I don't even know really what that is, to be honest. I haven't played enough in Hawaii to get used to the Kona winds. And he also said LOL, so it might have been a joke. From my research, they are not Kona winds. I have no idea what a Kona wind is. I don't either. I just talk golf, man. All right, so we'll get to the Q&A here in just a second. Jacob, let's mix it up one more time. Let's do a quick giveaway again in the chat.
Keeping it lively. I like it.
Might as well. We're just going to do one here.
Yeah.
And this is not going to be for the hybrid just yet. I just spit on myself. All right. Let's spin the wheel. Let's see what we got. Oh, another hat. Should we spin it again? Get something different?
Yeah, let's switch it up. Spin it again.
All right. Let's spin it. Polo. That's a little better. So you got
nice.
3. You got a kind of like one like Jacob's wearing, red. I got a white one, and then we got a gray one, all Under Armour. Got some new ones coming in. I didn't tell you about Jacob Puma. Chris Ferreter, I think I saw him in the chat. He's gonna hook us up with some. But yeah, so golf polo is up next. Let's do what do you want to do, man? Let's do Kona. Kona. Type Kona into the chat.
Nice. Classy.
Yeah. All right, let's do Kona. Let's give away a polo. Let's do that for
awesome.
A couple seconds. All right, I think we're good. Let's roll it.
All right.
Oh, got another one.
Let's do it. Oh, yep.
Anyone else? Last chance.
10 seconds.
No, I'm not even giving that. 2 seconds. Here it comes.
2 seconds. Who we got?
Kelowna, the last guy in.
Ah.
I think he is also a
lucky.
member. I think he joined this week. Congrats, Nick.
Nice.
All right, let's. I'm gonna throw this up real fast, and if you guys had any questions, this goes out each week. It's our betting card. I'm not gonna go through each one. Oh, Jockstrap, you just missed it, man. So those are our outrights, top fives, first round leads. It goes out on Twitter, goes out in our email. You can find it on the website. It's completely free, no worries. But yeah, hit a really good stretch in the fall. Last week, missed out. Who was that? Kevin Tway, I think, for a top 5. Missed out that on the weekend. So looking to jump back into getting some green this week. But yeah, man, you ready for some Q&A?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm not super big on the betting stuff. I'm learning my way when it comes to that. So I'll follow your lead, and we can go right into the Q&A if you don't have anything else.
Alrighty. Let's see here. So yeah, we'll start taking some questions. We're doing good on time, man. It's 8:30, so be able to run through a couple of these things. Let's see. I have to stop this because it'll go fast. DK Cash, still debating this. I think that's Billy, man. I think I was talking to him earlier. You have the chat up, Jacob? You see this?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. 2v2, Champ Poulter or Casey Kuchar. I think for me, man, that's a Champ Poulter. I really like Poulter this week, again, from last week, and he has the playing the tournament champions narrative. So what do you think? Champ Poulter or Casey Kuchar? I would lean – I think Champ has as much upside as anyone. I think Casey's a little safer, but I would lean Champ. And then Poulter, I like over Kuchar.
For cash, I actually think Casey Kuchar is a better call.
No.
I think the only reason I say that is because Poulter is a little bit more of a GPP play for me. He didn't play terrible last week, but he didn't putt that well, and he sort of struggled down the stretch.
Yeah.
So,
dude, he's been so solid tee to green. I was looking through all of his stats, like for every single event. I liked him last week, and you didn't have much to go off of. Now what are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at your comment.
Forgot you could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And he hits a ton of greens, ton of fairways. I feel like he's a pretty safe shot this week, so I'm digging Poulter.
Yeah, this is the Houston Open for him, so
maybe, man. He played last week. Maybe he's getting in the groove.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Okay. You guys going balanced in cash. You play like single entry stuff, which is like similar to cash, not really, but yeah, this week for cash, I probably would make one with JT. I would probably make 2 cash lineups and throw one in for JT. It's kind of weird. Like, I really like my balance builds, but if JT goes off and wins it and he's like 35% owned, or even finishes like top 3, which he very well
probably
could.
will. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd probably build 2, but mostly, generally, like speaking in cash, I would start with a stud, and then I would really be critical of my cheap values. I don't really always go balance with cash, man.
Yeah, I don't play cash, so that's a new thing that I'm trying to take on. Not this week. Probably start it here in the next couple weeks. But I think cash. I mean, certainly you can do it high up. My concern with starting with JT, despite his win equity, is what you have to sacrifice down low. I think we were talking about it a little bit earlier. I mean, if you don't pick a 6K guy, which you may even be forced to, then you're living in the mid 7s for the rest of your lineup. And I like some guys in there, but I don't know if I like 5 guys.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Like, I try to avoid like the big field double ups and stuff like that. But like talking head to heads, I think your strategy would be balanced, because you'd probably be trying to stay, like me personally, I would probably try to stay at Sam Ryder or above. I mean, you can definitely find a guy below that, and you can find a guy in the 6K that you can make a reason that he's going to make the cut, but it's just they're down there for a reason. So, as soon as you throw in an $11,000 guy, you're either jumping through like the bottom of the 8s, and then you're sprinkling in 7s, or you're going to have to grab a $6,600 guy, which is not going to be great in cash. So, yeah. Okay, so let's see here. I saw we had a Poulter question right after that from Riser, and we kind of just touched on that with Ball and Reese. But, yeah, I like Poulter this week. I liked him last week with him getting some reps under his belt. I like him quite a bit. I feel like green regulation, fairway numbers are really key this week, and he's been doing a lot of that in the last 6 months. So I don't know if you want to add on to that, Jacob, but we got a lot of questions, so we can get to the next one.
Yeah, no Poulter for me. I'm just playing a single, but he's not in it, so.
Yeah, understandable. Single entry, GPP, kind of hybrid. Billy, is that the same question? Oh yeah, I think he's good when we answer it. I'm way behind, guys. I'm trying to scroll down. Vlad says, I'm living between 8,000, 9,000 for cash, and it kind of scares me to fade all the top guys. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing, man. Like fading JT, if he wins it, there's a chance if your other guys in cash don't do well, you're missing the cash line. So that's why I like to throw out 2 to kind of miss that a little bit, and then there's so many golfers in the field, man. I've seen way too many lineups that have completely different players, and they finish, at the same point level, 3rd and 4th place in a double up. So, all right, going down. Spetty, am I crazy for liking Stephanie as a cheap play? What are your guys' thoughts? Why do you keep laughing?
Because I'm reading that comment about Stephanie. I got a response for it.
Go for it.
So, Sean Stephanie is 5th overall in my model. He is 30th tee to green, not great. 8th birdie or better, 9th fairways gained, 12th par 4 scoring, 2nd greens in regulation, and 1st in good drives gained. Now, statistically, you see a 6,800 guy pop up this high in the model, and you start checking your stats, and you're like, why is he up here? But that's that name bias coming into play. I hesitate to pull the trigger on him, but I would really have to dig into his current form. I mean, hold on, looking at 3 missed cuts in a row. He had a 7th at Sanderson, so doesn't look like great form coming in. I don't know if those stats are from before that. It looks like they may be. So it's just a matter of you want to take that risk. I mean, does that mean that you get JT and maybe a 9 or 8K guy that you can feel good about, or
like his question's like, am I crazy as a cheap play? And like, probably not. Basically, from what you're saying, it just depends on the guys around that. Yeah. I did look into him. His form here at this golf course is pretty good for a $6,800 guy. And I'm not like a fan of Sean Stephanie, but I like the dude's pretty solid. Like if he has a lot of missed cuts. He's not like an elite tour player. He's pretty average, but I mean, he's a solid ball striker. But a guy like that kind of scares me. You gotta, is he going to continue his good play at the Sony?
Mm-hmm.
He likes to look, and course history to me honestly is a thing. Coming from a playing background, it definitely has something to do with a lot of how you play. But I don't mind him. I think there's some other ones down there, like Troy Merritt. I'd probably be willing to give a shot again. He gets the bump from last week.
Yeah.
Didn't play great tee to green, but he's coming to a golf course. He's not the longest guy. Coming to a shorter golf course, he can hit it straight. So that would be one guy I would probably look to is like Troy Merritt, 6,700. But yeah, I wouldn't talk you off Stephanie. It would just be in probably bigger field GPPs, to be honest. All right, let's keep it moving. Jockstrap Chaos, always the best name. Better chance to top 5, Spieth or Leishman. So I'm kind of low on Leishman, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just his price, because like his recent form is pretty solid, as good as anybody really. So I probably would have to lean him off of his recent form over Spieth, and it's just an unknown. But I don't know. Spieth's just a big question mark, to be honest. I would lean Leishman over several of those guys.
Yeah, I think the only reason that people are falling to Spieth as an option so much is because he's the lowest of that 10K range. So I know personally, earlier today when I was thinking, am I going to stick with my 10K and up fade? I move some people around and I see, I can get up there to Spieth. Well, are you doing that just because you can get it, or because you really want to play him? I mean,
well, here's a narrative for you, not to cut you off. Jockstrap noted.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Jockstrap noted that Patrick Reed's in the field, so Spieth should be motivated, or Reed should be motivated that Spieth's there. So, I'm not real high on Spieth. He's honestly just X'd out. I think he could pop. He's just too talented, but he's been playing so bad. I'm just not going to risk my money on that. But he says, yeah. Is Reed going to be fired up with Spieth here? And I mentioned Reed on Monday. He's again like kind of like a Bryson. He didn't play great last week. I mean, Reed played pretty bad, but you win the Masters. You're a world class player. Can't really ever count him out, and he's at a decent price. So, not a great price, but a decent price. Any thoughts on Reed, more or less? He's not at a good price, we'll say that.
No, he's at a terrible price. He's going to be like 4% owned probably.
Exactly.
And when you watch him, he's going to come out and probably first round lead it, just to spurn us all. But no interest in Reed for me after I got burned by him last week. So right. I'll take a break for a little bit and then jump back on a few weeks from now.
All right, let's try to keep it moving through a couple of these questions, and then I'm sure some people want to win a hybrid, and I'm sure that's on there. I'm just staring at it right here, but don't really want to give it away. Undone, Mr. Chris Hollander, he says, if all the info is true about Spieth just being here to test his game, ... and kind of talked about that earlier about his press conference. Yeah. It was very vague. So again, I'm not. And he had wrist tape. I don't know if anyone saw that, but he had wrist tape on his left wrist.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah. I don't know. It's, again, besides just saying he's talented and had a good run here at the Sony Open, there's really not a lot to go off of, to be honest.
Yeah.
At least for me. So, thoughts on Adam Scott, if you want to take that one.
Oh, yeah. I love me some Adam Scott. He was actually, I think I reached out to you, Drew, on Monday as soon as pricing came out. And I was like, wow. Adam Scott's going to be chalk at 8,300.
But everyone was betting him at 45 to 1 or 50 to 1 as soon as the pricing came out and the odds came out. That's all I saw. Adam Scott. So I thought he'd be chalky, man.
Is he bet down now?
No, last I saw he was 50 to 1, I think. He didn't move. Most of these guys are in the middle.
And I mean, he's mediocre. I mean, looking at like 15% right now, that's not terrible, not great. If I was really into him, then I wouldn't mind eating the chalk on that one. I think that's good chalk there. You just can't deny the quality of player he is, and his tee to green game. He's certainly not, Masters Adam Scott, but I think we have seen him sort of make a turn towards getting back into that form that we know. Most recently with that PGA run of his where he finished third, I believe it was. I don't mind Adam Scott at all. If you can get there, I would say it's a good call.
He's leaving the flagstick in on all putts, he said. I was watching his...
I did see that.
So it was funny because he
said, I don't care.
Yeah, he said, I don't care. He was in the news conference, and it's basically just a room, and they have a backdrop. And they finished the news conference, but he got up, and they kept recording. And they're like, you going to leave the flagstick? And he's like, on every hole. Every hole. So I don't think that really is going to help him that much. He's already got he's using a long putter. Some people call it cheating, but... yeah, I like Adam Scott. Good ball striker. He did say he took a good amount of time off. Again, you're going to get that with a lot of these guys.
Yeah.
A lot of talk on CH3 still confident on chill. I am. He's got the narrative from last week. Played really well at this golf course over the years. Very consistent. Yeah, he's got one of the lowest. We had Chris, who's in the chat, Undone RSG, helps out with Fantasy National, and 1.7 standard deviation from a stroke average of 67.2 at this golf course. So I like some Charles Howe, and coming off last week.
That's awesome.
Pretty decent with that. All right, keep it going. We got Spetty says we must have similar models because he's high on mine, and his question was back on Stephanie. Oh, yeah, you did see that. See, I'm behind. I got to navigate this whole thing. Stephanie or Mitchell to pair with JT? To be honest, man, I haven't looked a lot into Mitchell for this golf course. He doesn't suit it to me, at least from what I've seen. You have any thoughts on Mitchell? I guess I would lean Mitchell. Let me look at his recent results. If you have any thoughts.
Let me jump in on Mitchell. It's funny you say that because you said you went on Mitchell on Monday on the pod. You said he's known as a bomber, but he's actually pretty solid all around.
He is.
And that got me digging into him a little bit more. But he's 15th overall in my model. Really solid tee to green approach, birdie or better. He doesn't rank well fairways gained. So, what does that tell me? That tells me we know he's a bomber, so he's going to be clubbing down. We don't have a stat for how accurate guys can be when they club down yet. But I think he's a great play if you're going to dip down below that 7K range, especially pairing it with the likes of, JT or Bryson or Woodland.
Yeah, his fairways gained are down, but honestly, for a 1v1, he's talking about Stephanie, I would probably lean Mitchell. At least he's had some high results compared to Stephanie in the last, probably 6 to 8 months. So, Papa Wolf, I would probably lean Mitchell there with JT. And you already commented. You got to tell me when you've already said something about these guys. Is ZJ a possible cash play for you guys? We touched on ZJ on Monday. I've cooled off on ZJ. I think he's still fine in cash. But, yeah, I don't know. I try to take it from a lens as what I'm looking at, most other people are looking at. And they're going to look at his recent form, or his course history for one. And they're going to plug him in. His last 3 finishes 9th, 6th, and 14th. Everyone knows that he plays well at certain tracks. The John Deere Classic, TPC Deer Run. He's finished his top 10 like the last 10 years. I think he's finished top 10 every year. So, it's tough when you haven't seen him play in a while. I think he's still in cash play. I just cooled off on him. I'm probably not going to play him a ton in GPPs, but I think cash play. I think that was Vlad asking that. I think ZJ is in cash consideration for sure. All right, we got top score league with a face, and then we got Jock Strap. Dude on CSU's podcast played with Ched, I guess. He said he's been killing it. I mean, honestly, all these guys, I've probably only been in, I mean, going up through mini tours and Q school and stuff like that, you see a lot of good players. I've had the luxury of being in, I think, 2 pro-ams for the PGA Tour, and guys just effortlessly stripe it. So not to say Chez isn't killing it, but I don't know. I feel like I walked up and down that range and a guy shot 78, and you watch him hit balls, and it's like, how did you not?
It's like a clinic.
It is. It was one of the reasons, man, I was like, I'm not dealing with this. You imagine every week you walk out there and guys like, man, I'm playing bad. And he hit 17 greens in regulation. No thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Kuchar or ZJ? You want to take that one?
Yeah, ZJ for me. And I think ownership's going to be pretty close on them. And I know Kuchar did play last week.
Yeah.
So that might be where people tend to lean, but I'm all in on ZJ this week. I just love that course history, and I feel like his game suits Walleye just so well. Not that Kuchar's doesn't, but if it's like you said, head to head down to one of them, I'll go ZJ.
I feel like Kuchar's kind of faded a bit in the last year. Like, I know he won the Mayakoba, and we hit that at 66-1. That was great, but honestly, you know, the consistency you've seen over the last 10 years really faded last year. But I think you look at the course history he had here at the Sony, dating back to 2013, he finished 5th, and then 8th, and then 3rd, and then 13th. And he hasn't played here. He didn't play here in 2017 or 2018. So I think looking at that, you'd be tempted to. I will note he gained like an average of 5 strokes putting every single year. So I would definitely lean to ZJ over Kuchar. I have concerns for Kuchar, man. Like, I'm really happy that he won, but he's known as a ball striker, and he just hasn't been doing it the last year. So if any comparison with Kuchar, unless he's like at the Mayakoba, he's like 7,600 or something like that, or something crazy in a weak field, I would take him. But yeah, I think ZJ is the stronger play this week. Kuchar smash play this week. He could be, man. I don't trust it. So pick one PGA Pro to drink with. One. That's a good question there, Jockstrap. We like these. Pick one PGA Pro to drink with, one to play around with, and one to fight. It's like a twist on the old classic game that I won't say because there could be children playing DFS. All right.
Yeah.
PGA Pro to drink with. Man, honestly, from the stories I've heard about Tiger, I'd probably say Tiger. Either Tiger or DJ.
Okay.
That would be fun. To play around with would be Tiger, and to fight, probably wouldn't say Tiger. So, it'd probably be like Tyler Duncan.
What?
Yeah, I'd fight Tyler
That's
Duncan.
so random.
Not because I hate him, just because I could fight him.
Okay. Fair enough.
If it was a real fight, it'd be Patrick Reed. I would throw Patrick Reed in there.
Okay. So one pro to drink with would be Ernie Els. I just heard some crazy stories about Ernie Els, like getting in fights and on the plane one, and just doing some crazy stuff. Ernie Els sounds like a boss. So, sign me up for that one. One to play around with. That one's tough. I think I would choose John Daly.
Okay.
Because that knocks 2 birds with one stone there, because we're going to drink while we play the round. And he might play with his shirt off and no shoes, and that would be pretty crazy to see also. He's a wild card, so I think that would be fun to watch. And then one to fight. I would probably fight Tiger. I'm not a Tiger truther.
You're going to see
bunch of people in here.
Everybody's going to unfollow you. All right, you'll fight Tiger. We'll leave it at that. I can't get into that. He'd probably whoop you, to be honest.
All right. He probably would, but
you'd still
I'd get a good swing in.
I mean, it'd be a good story.
Yeah.
Thoughts
it would be.
Thoughts thoughts on Harmon. We'll get a couple of these, and we'll get to this hybrid giveaway. Thoughts on Harmon? You have any thoughts? I'm not playing him. His course history is great. We talked about it in the podcast. I'm not trying to follow along with his course history. I don't trust it.
Yeah, no, that, like we said, that's a good debate between course history buffs and current form buffs. Which is better. And his course history is pretty awesome here at the Sony, but his form is pretty garbage. So it's just whichever one you want to lean towards, what you think matters the most. I think Drew and I both agree that, despite the course history, his form's pretty terrible. So definitely not in my lineup.
All right. Hump's in the chat. I'll be going on his show, the Hump Gnostication Proclamation, in a couple weeks for the farmers. So
nice.
He says he's disappointed that I chose Tyler Duncan. And it's not because I don't like him. Just I feel like, what does he weigh? 150 pounds, 135, 140 pounds. Yeah. All right, last couple questions we got. Any Brian Gay love? Yes. I brought that up on Tuesday, I think, because I don't think I mentioned on the podcast. Brian Gay sets up for this golf course really well. I like him. He's going to be very low owned, I think. He's a good putter. Very straight. He's not the longest, so he can at least manage a 7,000 yard par 70. The guys are going to, he's going to have to hit driver, so he hits it straight enough. So I really like Brian Gay this week. He'll be, I think I might have mentioned it to Chris. He could be in cash, but I probably wouldn't go there. But definitely in GBPs, he's gonna be like 4%. So
yeah, he looks like he's projected at 4. I honestly haven't even considered him. I didn't even know he's in the field.
Entry. Yeah, I just dug in a little bit more after the podcast, and I didn't see him, and I was like, man, it's funny how you get on these guys like a couple months ago, and then they show up in a field that, you just skip over them. There's just so many good names. But yeah, I do like Brian Gay. We got some, Jockstrap says he's drink with Pat Perez, play with DJ, and fight Bubba. It's a good one. All right.
Yeah, Bubba's a good one to fight. Hey, one last thing. I see one up there from Undone asking about Joel the Mole Damon. I have not heard that name. That's a good one. Joel the Mole.
What do you got on him? Like we mentioned a little bit on the podcast.
Yeah, I got nothing on him. He's the same price.
Stats look fine, but I don't know. I would rather go to try to
his stats look good, but he's same price as Ryder, and I would much rather lean Ryder in that area. I think we talked about it earlier, but his stats are inflated a little bit, I think, from a run he went on a while ago. And he's not a terrible player. I mean, great story behind him, and a good ball striker. But I won't have any Joel Damon this week.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I was just trying to look up. Let's see. I mean, his stats the last couple of events were decent. I mean, he doesn't have high finishes, but he went on that run in the summer, making every cut and finishing, top 20s. Let's see.
Yeah,
he's okay. I still would probably lean Ryder, but Joel Damon makes sense. I mean, especially probably count on a made cut, I guess. All right, Grillo thoughts. I do like Grillo. This will be our last question. His history here didn't look great, and but I just trust his ball striking, his stats look like they line up pretty well here. So let's go ahead. I don't know if you have any thoughts on Grillo, but he's not going to be in my cash lineup, but in GBPs, he's definitely in my pool.
Yeah, no, I like him a decent amount. He was one of the first guys that stood out to me when I was looking through the pricing. Like you said, not a great history here, but this course to me screams a Grillo type course. Just exactly. He's a big grinder and just hit some fairways, hit some greens, and make some putts. I could definitely see him easily coming, top 10, top 5, something like that.
Yeah, top 5 is aggressive, but we'll go with the top 10. All right, we're gonna run through. This is the end of our show, but we have 3. We're gonna do 3 spins of the wheel and giveaways, and then the last thing we will do, we'll do the same with this little guy, the G400 hybrid. Give that thing away. Have to get it out of here.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Let's go ahead and spin the wheel real quick. Let's get these things going. We're 4 minutes to 9. I think we can get it done.
Let's do it, man.
Golf polo. All right, this was going to be real easy. Just type in polo.
Polo. Easy.
What's up, Mike? Mike's going to be at the Sports Betting National Championship. H3 Buddha. Might be H3 Buddha. I don't know. I just always said Buddha. All right. All right. We got to get to 3, so let's go ahead and roll it. MCC.
We got
MCC 316. MCC 316. If you can, go ahead and you can send me a DM on Twitter. If not, I'll find you on Twitch. Let's do one more spin of the wheel. Another golf pole. We're going to spin it again. We can't be giving out poles every single time. H3
Let's
Buddha.
give away some golf balls.
No, let's not do golf balls. T-shirt. We'll do a T-shirt. Maybe the last one's golf balls. We got a hybrid coming, man. We got to consolidate a little bit. All right. FGB T-shirt. What do you want this one to be? Let's do
Let's do bagger. Bagger. Bagger.
Bagger. Type in bagger. So this one is for the T-shirt. All right, I'm gonna roll it. We'll get to the third one and then the hybrid.
All right, let's see it.
Undone, Mr. Chris Hollander.
Nice, way to go, Chris.
This is a medium. All right, last spin of the wheel. FGB hat. You want to do golf balls? You want to give out some golf balls?
Let's get out of the sleeve. Logo golf balls. Everybody likes some Pro V1s.
There you go. We'll do a hat and golf balls. This is a bonus one.
All right. All right.
All right. The let's see here. Just make this real quick and easy. We'll just hat. Let's do hat. And then the last one we'll do this guy. All right. 5 seconds.
5 seconds. Who we got?
Jockstrap. Jockstrap won some balls.
Nice. All right. Are we down to the grand finale here?
Yeah, we're down to the hybrid, man. All right. So what we're gonna do, I think this will work. Maybe not. Oh well. We'll do a keyword. Real simple. We'll do ping. Ping is the keyword for the hybrid.
Ping. I was about to say that. Clever.
It's a good one, right?
Yep.
Kind of flowed.
Are you putting your name in there? Are you trying to keep this thing?
I don't think I'm eligible. I play titles anyways. Don't tell Ping that, though.
Okay. Okay. No, we're helping them out. We're getting them views.
Yeah. The wedge is actually really nice. I would highly encourage, if you're looking for wedges, get these Pings because they are nice. Not even trying to sell it.
Yeah, no, I've heard great things about those glides.
Is that it? Oh, we got a couple stragglers. All right, you got 5 seconds, and I'm rolling it.
Everybody,
Let's
put
see
Ping in
this.
if you haven't.
I saw that, Buddha. Thanks, man. Oh! Dude, Mike has had the year. Well, it's 2019, doesn't count, but wow. It's rigged. If you tip, you win. Congrats, man. I'll hit you up on Twitter.
Yeah,
Guys,
I assure everyone else in chat it's not rigged. He did not win because he tipped.
Wow. Dude, congrats. All right, guys. That is the
way to go, man.
That's the end of our time. I don't think we have any more thoughts, but we want to wish you guys the best of luck. Thank you for tuning into the live stream. You can check us out at fantasygolfbag.com. Next week, we'll have our podcast. Monday comes out on Tuesday morning, and then you can check us again on Wednesday night at 9 p.m., I think, next week we're shooting for. Now that it's on the West Coast, we're actually pushing it back slightly. And that'll be it, guys. Good luck this week. Hope you had fun. Definitely follow if you haven't already. You can find us on Twitter. Good luck this week at the Sony Open. Let's have some fun.
Later, guys.